ポイントブランクチャンネルへようこそ。今日は買うイベントのヘレンさんにお越しいただきました。ヘレンさんは私が会社を立ち上げた当初、自分の会社をプロモートするためにギルティヌードルっていうブランドを作ったんですけれども、その時にポップアップインスタントヌードルを5、60種類集めて、それをいかに面白くプロモーションできるかっていう実験のような企画をしたんですけれども、その際にギルティヌードルの展示のほぼ全てを一緒に手伝ってくださった方です。ではヘレンさんに自己紹介をお願いします。
So I'm Helen Donovan and I'm the Managing Director of Cow Events. Internally, probably we call me the head of the herd, so I look after the herd at Cow Events. And we are an experiential events company, and we work across lots of different platforms. So we work for corporate clients, private clients, we build pop-up shops, we do everything from kind of runway shows to children's birthday parties. So everything totally across the board. And what we hope we bring to the party is really never doing the same event twice, and also just really working with our clients to make sure that we come up with something that's innovative, experiential, and new be it for a consumer or for a guest. So that's who we are at Cow Events.
ヘレンさん、どうしてこのビジネスを始めたんですか？
Well, I'd been in the industry for quite a long time. Cow Events is 14 this year. So, and previous to that, I'd been at a lot of different agencies. And then in my last role, I was head of marketing, group marketing and events for a fashion retail company. And I'd been there for 5 years. And they were just about to launch in New York. And I was asked if I wanted to go out to New York and host that. And I'd always had a dream that I wanted to start my own company, and I never really knew when the time was right. I love London, I love working in London, I love living in London, and at that point it was kind of a natural choice. And I also didn't want to be somebody who, sits at a dinner party in 20 years' time saying, oh, I would have started my own business, but... And so it kind of became a natural thing. I didn't want to move to the States. I wanted to stay here. So it was kind of a natural thing. And then, suddenly in September, I'd started my own company.
I see. 次の質問は自分で仕事を始められて大変だったことは何ですか？
I think probably one of the hardest things is that when you start a business, you have a vision. And that vision is how you want your company to be, where you see it in the future, who comes on that journey with you, and you've got a business plan. And that business plan, particularly for somebody like myself who's a producer, and a slight control freak, you have that set in stone. And then, occasionally there are things that come about which are completely out of your control. So I started the company in 2007, and to the day in September 2008, the economy crashed.
Riemann's shock.
And with that, I had started a company, I had staff, I had everything, and I had to let all those people go. And I also had to let them go knowing that they were going into a climate where potentially it would be very difficult for them to get another role, because there was nothing out there in terms of, particularly in my background, which was fashion and retail, and those elements in marketing. And then, of course, fast forward 13 years later, and again, dealing with the pandemic. And I think you just have to be really flexible when those challenges are thrown at you, and you just have to try and think outside of the box. But I think probably one of the most challenging things is looking after your team and working out what you can do. And I think loyalty is a huge part of that, when the business does come back in like it did in 2010, and it was bigger than ever then, and hopefully we'll see the same thing when we come out of the pandemic.
I think so.
Yeah, exactly.
You just have to survive.
Exactly, but you also need to keep all those people around you, be it staff, be it suppliers, and all those people around you who will be there and jump back on with you as and when you're busy again. So I think those are probably the most challenging aspects. I mean, there's lots of
I didn't know you had twice this
there's
kind
lots of
situation.
different things, but I did feel when the pandemic came, I did feel, look, guys, I've been through this before. Not quite the same, but you know, we've been through it. We just have to hang tight.
次の質問はヘレンさんが、女性の起業家として苦労されたことはありますか？
I don't think. I think at the beginning, I think when I started the company at the very beginning, I think that it sometimes there was it took a little amount of time. I'd been working in the industry for 15 years before I started my company. So I actually did have quite a little bit of knowledge. But I think to begin with, it was more probably from a supplier aspect necessarily than a client perspective. I think that some people didn't think that I understood the AV side of it or the technicalities of the van, transport, logistics, or all those elements. But I think once they spent 10 or 15 minutes with me, I think they found out quite quickly that I did know what I was talking about. And I came from the industry, you know, I'd been in the industry for such a long time before I started Cow Events that I think that definitely worked in my favour. So I think potentially with a few suppliers, and then I think secondly, I have encountered a couple of clients who are probably at the higher end of the CEO kind of level who need an events organizer or need a company like us, an experiential company, but aren't very happy being told what to do by a woman. I have encountered that, but you know, we all have challenges in our jobs, and those are some of the things you have to overcome. I think had I started my company 15 years prior, if I'd started it probably perhaps in the early 1990s or something like that, I think probably we would have encountered more, but I think we've probably been quite lucky over the last 14 years.
Thank you very much, Helen.
Pleasure.
Let's finish first episode and let's chat another
Okay.
half of it. 前半はここまでで、後半は、ヘレンさんに今後のビジネス、ヘレンさんのビジネスについてお伺いしたいと思います。じゃあお楽しみに。